I'm Treesa. Welcome back to the second episode of Theory Talkies. Today, we are going to talk about one of the interesting concepts, Homo Sacer. Before talking about Sacer, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do subscribe and please press the bell icon to receive notification of my new videos. So, who is a Homo Sacer or what is a Homo Sacer? Homo Sacer is a Latin term which can be translated as the sacred man. Okay, so according to the Roman religions and law, ancient Roman religions and law, Homo Sacer is a person who stands outside of law and society to such an extent that when somebody kills a Sacer, it is not considered as murder, or no one gets punishment for killing a Sacer. And another interesting factor associated with Sacer is that he cannot be put to death according to ritualistic conventions, or he cannot be sacrificed to the gods. To give you an example, people belong to certain communities, it can be race, caste, class. Their murders are more or less, goes without no punishment. And their deaths are not considered sacrifice either. So these are two factors. We give you an example, we give you an understanding about how people stand outside of law and society in different countries. Example are blacks in America, Dalits in India, Rohingya Muslims in Myanmar. These people's death are not accounted for, and neither is it categorized in the as sacrifice for any glorious cause. Though this concept of Homo Sacer was in existence for a long time since ancient Roman period, a rigorous theoretical analysis of this concept was given by Giorgio Agamben in his 1998 work Homo Sacer, Sovereign Power and Bare Life. I will be dealing with this concept in two videos. In the first video, I will be talking about an introduction to the concept and the history of evolution of this concept. History of evolution in the sense how this concept evolved in theoretical discourses, as well as how we find this concept in different countries. In the second video, I will be talking about Agamben's take on Homo Sacer and a contemporary perspective and the relevance of this concept. We have already seen that Homo Sacer is called the sacred man. If he is the sacred man, how can he be killed just like that? To address this question, we have to look at various explanations that we have about Homo Sacer, that is, who is a Homo Sacer. The first explanation is that Homo Sacer becomes a sacred man because he stands outside of law, he stands outside of the society, he is an outlaw who can now only rely on the protection of God. Only gods can protect him. This is how the term sacred becomes attached to the Homo Sacer. The second explanation is that Homo Sacer is a term for oath breakers. When you are taking an oath, you're pledging your loyalty, you're pledging yourself to the god. You're consecrating yourself to a particular deity, which means that you are banned from the protection of other deities and from society and the human world. A person who is consecrated to a single deity is considered is believed to be a Homo Sacer who cannot be protected by any other gods or human society, and who can never be consecrated to the human society or to any other deities. Okay, so whatever befall on him is considered to be the work of the deity to which he or she had consecrated himself or herself. This with God is what makes Homo Sacer a figure, a combination of both the sacred and the accursed. So Homo Sacer, owing to his connection with the God, he is simultaneously a sacred figure as well as an accursed figure. That is the brilliant intersection which makes Homo Sacer an ambiguous figure. Now let us look at Homo Sacer and ambiguity. What are the factors which makes Homo Sacer an ambiguous figure? There are three reasons. Okay, the first reason is that unpunishability of his death and ban on his sacrifice. The question is, if he is an impure figure, an accursed figure, how can anyone kill him without contaminating himself? This is an argument put forward by William Ward Fowler. The second idea which makes him an ambiguous figure is that if he is the property of God, how can anyone kill him without committing sacrilege? And the third point is, if he is a condemned person, why can't anyone kill him using the prescribed methods of execution at that point in time? So it is this ambiguity which makes Homo Sacer a figure worth looking at because he is neither sacred nor accursed. He stands in between in such a way that he is outside both human law and divine law. He is outside human law in a way that anyone can kill him, and that murder doesn't come under any kind of jurisdiction or legal problems. On the other hand, he cannot be sacrificed. Gods doesn't take him. Gods don't take him. So this is what makes Homo Sacer an ambiguous figure. Okay, the fourth factor which makes Homo Sacer an interesting and ambiguous figure is that the idea about exile. There are two kinds of arguments about exile. Exile is considered to be a punishment. Exile is also considered to be an excuse or freedom from punishment. If you're taking refuge in some other place, it means you're excusing yourself from the punishment from your home country. So if Homo Sacer is outside of law and society, whether it is an exile as punishment or whether it is an exile as a voluntary decision to come out of the society which no longer accepts you. So this is the final factor which gives Homo Sacer an ambiguous aura. Okay. Now let us look at the history of evolution of this concept. Let us start with the relationship between man and Homo Sacer. It is in Bible that we find an account of the relation between man and Homo Sacer. In Hebrew usage, ban is a performative word by which impious sinners, enemies of the community, and even their gods are devoted to utter destruction. The term devoted is important there. In Hebrew usage, ban has an ambiguous meaning. It can also mean devotion to deity, or ban in a way means consecration to deity. But in the case of Bible, there is no confusion regarding the meaning of ban. In Bible, ban means imposing upon certain people who belong to a different religion or caste or class their gods to utter destruction. The idea of destruction is so complete that not only the people but also their property, their cattle, all are involved in the process of destruction. Metal is not used unless and until it is gone through ritualistic purification through fire. And the cattle of the banned person is simply slain and not sacrificed. And the idea of ban is contagious too. If a person brings any of the materials or articles from the banned person's household, the person concerned himself or herself becomes banned. And this idea of ban arises from the fear of supernatural penalties. So this analysis of the ban, which can be assimilated into the taboo consecration dichotomy, is considered to be the wellspring or genesis of the ambiguity of the sacred, ambiguity of the ban, and ambiguity of the idea of the sacer. Okay, so the ambiguity lies in the fact that it excludes in including, which means if you are devoted to utter destruction in the name of a god, you are in a way including yourself in the realm of God, devoting yourself to the God, but at the same time, you are excluding yourself from the human society. Now let us look at another ancient text which talks about Homo Sacer. It is the laws of the 12 tables, which is the foundational legal work on Roman law. In this work, we find 3 crimes which are responsible for making a person a Homo Sacer. The first crime is when you cancels the border or when you cheats on the border. The second crime is when the sons commit violence against their parents. And the third crime is when the patrons deceive their clients. These 3 crimes make a person a Homo Sacer. Look at Wilhelm Wundt's concept of sacred horror. Wundt connects Homo Sacer with the idea of sacred horror. According to him, Homo Sacer invokes both horror and veneration. And he says that this blending of horror and veneration, the impurity and the sacredness, is a characteristic feature of archaic period of human history. And it was with the beginning of organized, institutionalized religions and the pantheon of gods that there happened to be, a division or dichotomy between sacredness and impurity, or veneration and horror. Before that, Homo Sacer was a person who invoked both respect as well as fear. Next person to talk about Homo Sacer is William Bart in his 1911 essay, The Original Meaning of the Sacer. In this essay, he talks about Sacer as a person who is banned from the society. And he says that there is no connection between Sacer and the deity or consecration to deity, but the deity, the connection between Sacer and the deity is added according to the context. And he also mentions the fact that since Sacer is an outlaw, it doesn't mean that he has any proximity to divine law or he is accommodated into the divine realm. He belongs neither to the human law nor to the divine law. And it is this non-belongingness, this double exception and the double capture which characterizes the existence of Homo Sacer. This double exclusion and double capture are characterized by the fact that he belongs to the human world by his ability to be killed by anybody, and he doesn't belong to the divine world by the ban on his sacrifice. So he is doubly excluded and doubly captured in both the worlds. That is what characterizes the Homo Sacer's ambiguous existence.
Emil Durke, in his 1912 work, The Elementary Forms of Religious Life, talks about 2 kinds of divine powers, the auspicious and the inauspicious. These are oppositional powers which invoke oppositional emotions like veneration and horror. The auspicious invoke veneration and the inauspicious invoke horror. But he says that there is a certain horror and fear with which we approach the auspicious. We are always afraid of inviting the wrath of these auspicious gods. On the other hand, there is a certain sense of awe and respect we have for the inauspicious powers. So there is a continuous process of transmutation from veneration to horror and horror to veneration with regard to our response to auspicious and inauspicious power. This complex bending of two opposing emotions is what characterizes the Homo Sacer too. According to Durke, thus the inauspicious is made of the auspicious and the auspicious is made of the inauspicious. There is this continual missing of pure and the impure, and there is no dichotomy between the pure and impure. Now let us look at Homo Sacer traditions in different countries. Homo Sacer, who is an outlaw, who can be killed and punished arbitrarily, finds recurring mention in Middle Ages. So, in Middle Ages, this reference comes along with the image or metaphor of wolf man or the werewolf. So, Homo Sacer was also known as the werewolf or the wolf man. German and Anglo-Saxon laws identify Bandit's liminal status and define him as the werewolf. According to Rudolf Hering, the German law is based on the idea of peace. The one who follows laws and conventions and code becomes the one with the peace. So the one who commits any crime, who doesn't follow law, becomes a person without peace. And this person will be eventually defined and categorized as the wolf man, who can be killed and punished by anybody. Now let us look at England's idea of Homo Sacer. Since the time of Edward the Confessor, there are laws regarding Homo Sacer, who goes by the name Wolf's Head at that point in time. According to the laws of Edward the Confessor, people who are expelled or banned from the society have to wear a wolf head. This person is not known as wolf but wolf man or wolf head. This wolf man, who is a hybrid of animal and human life, also denotes the passage between the animal world and the human world, exclusion and inclusion. The werewolf or the wolf man, this paradoxically dwells in both the worlds, in human world and the animal world, by not belonging to either. Image of werewolf, who is a hybrid of human and animal, which is there in our collective unconscious, originally meant the banned man. And when people are banned from human society, they enter into a zone of indistinction where he becomes neither man nor animal. And this phase is initiated by state of exception, which we discussed in our first video. England was the first nation to revoke Homo Sacer status by formulating a law which goes by the name habeas corpus in the year 1679. Habeas corpus meant that no man can be arbitrarily punished or killed by anybody. Now, let us look at the relationship between a tyrant and Homo Sacer. Plato, in his Republic, approximates the transformation of a guardian into a tyrant by using the Greek myth of Lycaon. Lycaon was the king of Arcadia. In order to test the omniscience of Zeus, what he did was he served the roasted flesh of his own son Nitimus. The all-knowing Zeus punished him by turning him into a wolf. Whoever tastes human entrails or whoever has the blood of humans on his hand will be immediately turned figuratively into a wolf, a banned man. And Plato also makes a point where when a tyrant has the blood of his tribe on his hand, he should be either killed or he should be turned into a wolf man, a werewolf or a Homo Sacer. Thus, when a guardian turns into a tyrant, when the father kills his own children, when the king kills his own subjects. This is also a necessary criteria or context where Homo Sacer is created. So this is an interesting development from the earlier discourses where Homo Sacer is the powerless person who is banned from the society. But Plato also makes tyrant a potential Homo Sacer. It made a powerful and decisive turn in the history of discourse on Homo Sacer. So hope you understood about the concept Homo Sacer and the history of evolution of this concept, both in terms of theoretical discourses and in different countries across the world. In the next video, we will be talking about Agamben's take on Homo Sacer and the contemporary perspectives on Homo Sacer. So please let me know your opinion about this episode in the comment box. Please like, comment, share and subscribe. This is Annie signing off. Bye.